Hello, I just wanted to share how I make some of my models using different AI tools combined with MakerWorld tools, such as Make My Keychain or Make My Sign. Today I'll be using Copilot. I've got my screen up showing the simple input that I have to generate this image. With some different prompts, you can easily do different things to modify an image. But for today, just something simple, creating the state with some text on it. I can simply download this image. I'll save this in my downloads folder and show you here the image to keychain converter. If I create from blank, I can browse and upload this photo. There's several different image adjustment tools here. I usually don't use them too much, keep it pretty simple. I try to generate images with very basic or dominant colors for 3D printing. So I will confirm this as is. The main thing I'd say here is whether or not you choose to keep the background. Typically, I remove the background to have the outline of the shape, but depending on your need, maybe you want to keep that set crop ratio or a specific shape for this. When I turn this background off, you can see the area in the back has now disappeared. That is also the reasoning I generated this text with a different color. If you leave this white, the text would also disappear. So depending on your use case, maybe you do or don't want that. So I'll click confirm here. It will show you then an image conversion preview. I will move ahead. And depending on the number of colors, you may want to select how many colors you want to drop that down to. If you have a very complex image, you will have many more colors shown at the bottom here as it tries to translate those into a set number here and match them. So for me, pretty simple image, just two colors. If I want, I can simply change this blue to black, for instance, or even a red. For this, I'm going to use black. And then the main things that I adjust within this are the plate thickness. So depending if I want to export this file and use it as is, the key things I look at are thickness and image thickness. So this thickness is the overall thickness. So I think for this model, I might export this and combine it. I can make this into simply what it is, just as a plate, but I enjoy making hitch covers for vehicles. So I will export and make this into a 3D print of a hitch cover, for instance. I don't need the home to be printed all the way through, so I will keep the image thickness at about 1 millimeter in depth. I could even reduce that further based off the number of layers I want to print this text. Another thing I'd like to point out is you can see the previewer down here. If you want to click into that so you can see what this looks like. For me, I think I'll want to keep the backing all black. So I can change that setting here. And I typically print face down. So depending if you want your features to be raised up, if this was more of a template, I could have raised up just specific features. And that thickness here, the image thickness here is how tall that feature is that you import. So if it wasn't a solid feature, it would then raise just the features of the image. I'm going to select face down, and from here I can download. You can then export to make my sign if you want to further edit with additional tools there. But for me, I can simply download this as a 3MF, and I will show you further how I process this. I didn't point out you can rename your file here, so for now it's Keychain Draft 3. Or I can update this and say Iowa. Click download again, download 3MF, and I will open this. Okay, now that the file's opened up, for me, my device I'm using is X1C. So if I go back to prepare, I need to select my printer because I didn't have that configured before. I can simply sync my information and filaments. I don't want to save those, and I will just synchronize these. I will select my PTG as that's what I print with for these, and then check my sizing on this. So I can see the size is 62 tall by 100. I want to keep this scale, but I want my Y direction to be 80 millimeters tall. It changes it uniformly, so I'm going to uncheck this box because I actually want to keep the 4 millimeter depth. So I will just change that value back to get this to 4 millimeters in size. Since I'm printing this model face down, the only setting that I typically change to speed things up that is not needed for my instance is ironing. So under quality ironing type, I will set this to no ironing. Depending on orientation of your model and preference, you may or may not want that on. For me, the part that would be ironed wouldn't be seen anyways and serves no purpose, so I will turn that off and save the time. Because I'm making a hitch cover, I then come into my objects and need to add the other part to make this. I will select both of these items and assemble. Quick key Y if you want. Here's my fixed object, here's the face that I'm moving to combine, and I will just do a center coincide. Depending on the size of your object and how much room you have on your vehicle, maybe you need to move your hitch insert directionally, so I'll select just that one object and I can select the move function, and I can slide this one direction to favor that item, how these are paired. So for me, I'm just going to move that up a little bit here. And be done. So I'll slice this. And after I print this out, I will share a picture in the comments of what it looks like. Feel free to drop any questions in the comments.